What if your favorite food disappeared tomorrow? Ever thought about it? It's an unsettling question, isn't it? We live in a world full of flavors, where we can enjoy a variety of delicious foods at our fingertips. But what if I told you this feast of flavors we take for granted is fading? That's right, some of the most common, beloved foods are at risk of disappearing. You see, our global food system is a complex web of interdependencies. It's not just about what we grow, but how we grow it, where we grow it, and even the climate in which we grow it. Changes in any of these factors can have profound effects on the availability of certain foods. There are 9 critical food items that are particularly at risk. Foods that you may have in your pantry right now that could become scarce in the not-so-distant future. And we're not talking about exotic, hard-to-find foods. We're talking about everyday staples you probably love and depend on. First on the list is honey, that golden sweet nectar produced by our hardworking bee friends. Then there's chocolate, the universal comfort food, and coffee, the morning wake-up call for millions around the world. Our oceans aren't safe either, with certain fish species dwindling at a worrying rate. Vanilla, that aromatic flavor we all adore, is also under threat. Wheat, the backbone of our breads, pastas, and pastries, is facing its own set of challenges. And who can imagine a world without avocados, the creamy green fruit that's become a millennial favorite? Peanuts, too, are on this precarious list. We'll delve into each of these foods, exploring why they're at risk and what can be done to protect them. We'll also discuss what you can do to prepare yourself in case these foods do become scarce. After all, knowledge is power, and being informed is the first step towards taking action. Let's giddy up and explore these 9 foods that could vanish off your plate sooner than you think. First on our list, the sweet nectar of nature, honey. Friends, honey isn't just a golden delight that makes our breakfast toast a little bit sweeter. It's a powerhouse of natural sugars, enzymes, vitamins, and minerals. It's a food that doesn't spoil, and a natural remedy for many ailments. But the world of honey is threatened, and the culprits are many. Our honeybees are facing a crisis, a rapid decline that's been happening right under our noses. Some call it colony collapse disorder, others call it a beepocalypse. But whatever name you give it, the reality is the same. Our buzzing friends are disappearing at an alarming rate. Why, you ask? Well, it's a complex issue. Climate change, habitat loss, and the use of certain pesticides are all playing their part. Rising temperatures and unpredictable weather patterns disrupt the delicate balance of nature, making it harder for bees to survive. The loss of wildflower meadows and other natural habitats leaves bees without the food and shelter they need. And certain pesticides, while designed to protect crops, can harm or even kill bees. The impact of this decline is far-reaching. You see, bees play a crucial role in pollinating many of the fruits, vegetables, and nuts we eat daily. Without bees, our food system would look drastically different. But it's not just about our salads and smoothies. No bees mean no honey. What does this mean for our honey supplies? Well, with fewer bees, honey production is falling. This golden elixir could become a rare commodity, a luxury item out of reach for many. The days of casually drizzling honey on your morning porridge or stirring it into your tea could be numbered. So next time you enjoy a spoonful of honey, remember the hardworking bees that made it possible. And consider this, the fate of these tiny creatures is intertwined with our own. We rely on them for so much more than just honey. And without the humble honeybee, this sweet treat could be no more. Next up, the beloved chocolate. Imagine a world without blissful bites of chocolate. It's a grim prospect, isn't it? But that's the reality we might be facing. You see, the cocoa plant, the heart and soul of every chocolate bar, is under threat. And the culprits? Climate change and diseases. The cocoa plant, a delicate creature, thrives only in a narrow band of rainforested land, roughly 20 degrees north and south of the equator. But with rising global temperatures, this band is shrinking. The cocoa plant, sensitive to even minor changes in temperature and rainfall, is finding it harder to survive. And as these conditions become more extreme, the risk of cocoa extinction grows. Then there's the issue of diseases. Cocoa plants are susceptible to a host of harmful pathogens. For instance, frosty pod and witch's broom, 2 fungal diseases, have already wiped out a significant portion of South America's cocoa crops. And it's not just South America. These diseases are spreading, threatening cocoa crops worldwide. The impact of these threats on chocolate production is profound. With cocoa plants struggling to survive, the supply of cocoa beans is dwindling. And as supply drops, the cost of chocolate is likely to rise. But it's not just about price. The quality of chocolate is at stake too. As farmers scramble to save their crops, they might resort to hybrid cocoa plants, which are more resistant to disease and climate change but produce beans of lower quality. These beans lack the complex flavors of traditional cocoa beans, meaning the chocolate made from them will be less delicious. So, what's the future of chocolate? It's uncertain. But one thing's clear. We're facing a world where chocolate could be a rare and expensive luxury, rather than a sweet, everyday treat. A world without chocolate? Now that's a bitter pill to swallow. Imagine waking up to a world without coffee. A chilling thought for many of us, isn't it? But this might not be just a nightmarish scenario. It could be our reality if the threats to coffee plants continue unabated. Coffee, the dark elixir that kickstarts our mornings and fuels our days, is in danger. The prime culprit? Climate change. As global temperatures rise, the cool, high-altitude environments where coffee thrives are shrinking. The plants are sensitive to temperature fluctuations, and even a small change can have a big impact on their growth and survival. With less suitable land available, the future of our favorite brew looks uncertain. But it's not just climate change that's threatening our morning cup of joe. Pests, particularly the coffee berry borer and coffee leaf rust, are wreaking havoc on coffee crops worldwide. These pests thrive in the warmer, wetter conditions brought about by climate change, causing significant damage and drastically reducing yields. You see, the coffee berry borer, a tiny beetle, burrows into the coffee cherry and lays its eggs. The resulting larvae eat the coffee beans, rendering them unusable. On the other hand, coffee leaf rust, a fungus, causes the leaves of the coffee plant to drop off, affecting the plant's ability to photosynthesize and produce cherries. And it's not just the quantity of coffee that's at risk. It's the quality too. As temperatures rise, so does the speed at which coffee cherries ripen. This leads to a decrease in the density of the beans, which directly affects the flavor of the coffee. The implications of a coffeeless world are far-reaching. Beyond the jarring thought of a morning without the aroma of freshly brewed coffee, it would also mean the loss of livelihood for millions of farmers across the globe. It's a grim picture, but it's not too late to make a change. By supporting sustainable coffee production and making conscious choices as consumers, we can help ensure that coffee remains on our breakfast tables for generations to come. Without our morning brew, mornings could be even tougher. So let's make sure that's a world we never have to face. Seafood lovers, brace yourselves. We're about to delve into a deep-sea dilemma that's causing ripples across the globe. We're talking about our oceanic friends, the fish. They're not just a savory delight on our plates, but they're also critical for maintaining a healthy ecosystem. But here's the catch. Our oceans are in trouble, and so are our fish. Overfishing is the first culprit we're looking at. It's like an all-you-can-eat buffet, but there's a limit, and we've been crossing that line for years. We're fishing faster than the fish can reproduce, leaving our seas with dwindling populations. Imagine getting to your favorite buffet, only to find out they've run out of your favorite dish. That's what we're doing to our oceans, and the fish are paying the price. And then there's pollution, the second villain in our story. It's not just plastic bags and soda rings we're talking about. Industrial waste, oil spills, and even noise pollution are turning our oceans into a hostile environment for our finned friends. Imagine trying to survive in a home that's constantly bombarded with trash and noise. It's a tough gig, right? Well, that's what we're subjecting our fish to. Both these factors, overfishing and pollution, are causing a severe decline in fish populations. The sad part is, it's not just the fish that suffer. It's us too. Fish are a significant source of protein for millions of people worldwide. They're also a key part of the ocean's ecosystem, helping to keep our seas clean and healthy. Without them, our oceans would be a different place. So what's the solution? It's simple: sustainable practices. For fishing, this means not taking more than the sea can replenish. For pollution, this means reducing our waste and cleaning up what's already there. It's a big task, sure, but it's one that we need to tackle if we want to keep enjoying our seafood platters. Without sustainable practices, our seafood platter may look quite bare. And that's a future no seafood lover wants to see. Vanilla, a staple in our desserts, is on the brink. Now that might sound a bit exaggerated, but it's a hard truth we need to reckon with. This sweet, fragrant spice that graces everything from our ice cream to our morning lattes is in jeopardy. Let's start with the vanilla orchid. It's a finicky plant, folks. It needs just the right amount of sun, rain, and temperature to prosper. Too much or too little of any of these, and the plant might not make it. Now consider the impact of climate change. Unpredictable weather patterns, extreme temperature shifts, and increased frequency of natural disasters put these delicate orchids at risk. But there's more. Vanilla is a labor-intensive crop. Each flower on the vanilla orchid must be hand-pollinated within a few hours of blooming. Miss the window, and there's no vanilla bean. It's a delicate dance that requires skilled and patient hands. To add to the complexity, vanilla orchids take 3 to 5 years to mature and start producing beans. That's a long wait for farmers, who are often tempted to switch to less demanding, more lucrative crops. Then there's the issue of theft. Vanilla beans are valuable, often referred to as green gold. In regions where vanilla grows, theft of these precious beans has become a serious problem, further discouraging farmers from growing the crop. Now think about the ripple effects. As vanilla becomes harder to grow and more expensive to produce, it becomes less available and more expensive for us, the consumers. That means the vanilla flavor we love in our cakes, cookies, and coffees could become a rare luxury. Synthetic vanilla, made from chemicals in labs, might fill the gap for a while. But let's be honest, it's just not the same. The rich, complex flavor of real vanilla is irreplaceable. So next time you enjoy a scoop of vanilla ice cream or a slice of vanilla cake, take a moment to appreciate it. Without vanilla, our sweet treats might lose their magic. Wheat, the backbone of our bread and pastries, is under threat. Yes, you heard it right, folks. Wheat, the golden grain, the sustenance of civilizations, is facing serious challenges. Now you might ask why. Well, the answer lies in 2 main culprits: climate change and pests. Let's talk about climate change first. Increasing temperatures and unpredictable weather patterns are wreaking havoc on wheat crops worldwide. Droughts, heat waves, and floods are becoming more frequent, and our dear wheat doesn't take too kindly to these extreme conditions. In fact, a single heat wave can reduce a season's yield by up to 20%. Then, there's pests. From the ravenous Hessian fly to the destructive wheat stem sawfly, these tiny terrors can decimate fields of wheat in a blink, and it doesn't stop there. We also have to contend with diseases like stem rust, a fungal infection that can slash wheat production by a staggering 80%. Now, imagine a world without wheat. A world without the comforting aroma of freshly baked bread wafting from the kitchen. Pastries, cakes, cookies, all could become a rare treat. And it's not just about our taste buds. Wheat is a primary source of nourishment for over 2 billion people. Without it, food security, especially in developing countries, could be severely compromised. Research is being conducted, of course. Scientists are tirelessly working on developing heat and pest-resistant varieties of wheat. But it's a race against time. Until these solutions are found, the threat to our beloved grain remains. So, what can we do? Well, we can start by acknowledging the issue, and then by supporting sustainable farming practices, by reducing our carbon footprint, by being mindful of our consumption. After all, every little bit helps. As we wrap up, let's remember this. Wheat is more than just a crop. It's a symbol of our shared history, of our resilience. It's a reminder of how interconnected we are with nature, and it's up to us to ensure that this golden grain continues to nourish us for generations to come. Without wheat, our daily bread could be a luxury. Let's not let that become our reality. Our beloved avocado toast is at risk. Now, there's a sentence to make millennials shudder. But it's not just about brunch. The avocado, that creamy, versatile fruit we've come to love, is facing some serious threats. First and foremost, let's talk about climate change. Avocados are a bit finicky when it comes to their preferred climate. They like it warm, but not too hot. They need a good amount of rain, but not too much. With global temperatures rising and weather patterns becoming more unpredictable, avocados are finding it harder to thrive. Droughts can wreak havoc on avocado orchards, while too much rain can lead to root rot. Then there's the issue of deforestation. In certain regions, lush forests are being cleared to make way for avocado plantations. This is particularly prevalent in Mexico, where the majority of the world's avocados are grown. While this may seem like a good thing for avocado lovers, it's a disaster for biodiversity. Deforestation leads to habitat loss, which in turn leads to a decline in wildlife populations. And let's not forget about disease. Avocado trees are susceptible to a number of pests and diseases, including the dreaded root rot and the destructive laurel wilt. These diseases can wipe out entire orchards in a short span of time, leaving growers with nothing but a field of dead trees. So what does all this mean for the future of our beloved avocado? Well, it's not looking great. If these threats continue unchecked, we could see a significant decline in avocado production, which would mean higher prices and less availability. In other words, that delicious, buttery avocado that you like to spread on your toast, toss in your salad, or mash into guacamole could become a luxury item. And those Instagram-worthy brunches, they might become a thing of the past. Without avocados, our brunches may never be the same. But it's not just brunch at stake here. It's biodiversity, it's climate stability, it's the livelihoods of farmers. The avocado is a small part of a much larger picture, and it's up to us to ensure that picture remains as vibrant and diverse as possible. Peanuts, the humble snack and spread, are disappearing. Now that's a sentence you probably didn't expect to hear today, but it's true. Our beloved peanuts are under threat, and the consequences could be far-reaching. Let's take a step back and look at what's causing this. First off, we have climate change. This global issue is causing more frequent and intense heat waves, droughts, and unpredictable weather patterns. These conditions are tough for most crops, but peanuts are particularly vulnerable. They require a very specific climate to grow, a delicate balance of warm temperatures and just the right amount of rain. Too much or too little of either can spell disaster for the peanut crop. Then, there's the issue of diseases. Peanuts are susceptible to a variety of diseases, including leaf spot and root knot nematode. Now, these might sound like terms straight out of a botany textbook, but they're serious issues for peanut farmers. These diseases can decimate entire crops, leaving farmers with a fraction of their anticipated yield. Now you might be thinking, okay, but what does this mean for me? Well, consider this. Peanuts are more than just a snack. They're a key ingredient in a variety of foods, from peanut butter to protein bars, and even some types of cooking oil. If peanuts become scarce, these foods could become more expensive, or worse, unavailable. And let's not forget about peanut allergies. They're one of the most common food allergies. If peanuts disappear, it could lead to an increase in exposure to unfamiliar substitutes, potentially causing more allergic reactions. So what can we do? Well, supporting sustainable farming practices is a big one. These practices can help mitigate the effects of climate change and reduce the spread of diseases. Also, we can diversify our diets and explore other nutritious alternatives to peanuts. Without peanuts, our PB&Js might be missing a key ingredient. But with awareness and action, we can help ensure that doesn't become a reality. That's our roundup of the 9 critical foods that could disappear. We've journeyed through a landscape of endangered delicacies, each one facing its own unique challenges. Let's take a moment to reflect on what we've learned and why it matters. First off, we talked about honey. This sweet golden liquid is under threat due to the declining bee population. Without bees, not only is honey at risk, but also the pollination of many of our favorite fruits and vegetables. Next, we discussed chocolate. Climate change and disease are putting a strain on the cacao trees that produce the beloved cocoa bean. If we lose these trees, we lose chocolate, and that's a world no one wants to live in. Then we covered coffee. Soil erosion, deforestation, and climate change are all putting our morning cup of joe at risk. The loss of coffee would certainly make our mornings a little less bright. We also looked at the situation with fish. Overfishing and pollution are depleting our oceans and rivers, threatening the existence of many fish species and, in turn, the seafood we enjoy. Vanilla was next on our list. This aromatic spice derived from orchids is threatened by climate change and deforestation. Without it, our desserts and perfumes would lack that distinct sweet scent. We also shed light on wheat, a staple of many diets worldwide. Pests, disease, and extreme weather due to climate change are threatening our wheat supply, which could have a serious impact on our food security. Then we entered the world of avocados. These creamy, nutrient-rich fruits are at risk due to climate change, water scarcity, and disease. The loss of avocados would certainly make our toast a lot less tasty. And finally, we spoke about peanuts. These legumes, a source of protein and healthy fats, are under threat from drought and disease. Without peanuts, our sandwiches and snacks would certainly be less satisfying. So, partner, next time you enjoy these foods, savor them because we might not always have them around.